Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazzed, and today I'm going to be generating a Frost DK versus Windwalker kind of strategy guide for you here, so you guys can basically be better off fighting any kind of Windwalker in, of course, an arena and battleground situation. Now, don't take this as a 1v1 duel guide, because as for World PvP at the moment, it is more like chaos, because, legendaries, gear difference in items in World PvP, and truth be told, most classes that are geared have like 880 eye level. They can stun somebody and kill them within that stun in World PvP. I mean, that really doesn't make much for a guide. If I run out AMS, stun somebody, and nuke them to death and use my legendary ring, that would just be kind of ridiculous. Or if I duel a rogue that has, of course, the legendary pants that full heals, every 10 seconds. There's just world PvP, not even worried about it. But anyways, guys, let's jump into this and make this guide.
It's who we are, it's what we do, we've come so far, and now we pay the price, so don't even cry. The world is breaking down, and I cannot leave the ground.
Before you can be really effective in any 1v1 situation against a class, what you have to do, of course, is learn the other class, learn their abilities, learn how to counter them, and of course, learn how their gameplay slash game style is going to be in different situations. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to my monk and show you what the key factors and what the deciding factors are going to be within this 1v1 situation. Now, the key factors that we're going to have to focus on when fighting a monk are going to be a few of the CC abilities and, of course, the raw mobility of a monk, because that's really going to come into factor within like the last 20% of the health fight. So what's going to happen when you go up against a monk is generally, let's say the DK is this training dummy right here. And I'm a monk. The monk's going to be a bit more aggressive at the DK, and what the DK is going to do is probably try to stay back a bit and spam some chains on me. The monk's going to run in, and the first thing he's going to do most likely is hit paralysis on the target. Now, the worst thing you can do in this time section, in that paralysis, is trinket. If you trinket, you are basically done for. That monk is going to beat the ever-living snot out of you if you waste your trinket on that paralysis. So what they're going to do is, of course, try to get close enough to you to hit paralysis so they can actually start off their DPS on you. Now, monks, of course, when they're doing their rotation, the longer they do their rotation, the more damage they're going to deal based upon an ability called a hit combo, which grants increased damage based on stacks. And, of course, if you're kiting them out, hitting them with chains, things like that, you could actually cause those to fall off. So monks, of course, as they reset their damage, don't deal as much damage. Now, what monks will try to do, of course, is they'll run in, they'll hit you with that paralysis, they'll come in on you, and they'll start generating up, of course, their chi, so they can start dealing even more damage and rotating even to their larger attacks. Now, what you're going to notice with monks is they're really going to try and burst on you quickly. They're going to hit you really hard, and what you're going to notice is when monks usually burst, they're going to hit you with Touch of Karma, and usually they're going to go for Fists of Fury. It's kind of a mix there, because you're basically going to be, of course, caught in the stun, and you're going to take a ton of just basically what I call, I guess, true damage from Touch of Karma. Or Touch of Death, because you're just going to take a ton of damage. And usually around this time is when a monk is also going to, of course, pop Touch of Karma on you to reflect a lot of your damage. Now, I'm going to teach you, of course, on the Frost DK how to counter this little thing that they do. Now, in my mind, there's two types of monks. There's good monks, and then there's really bad monks. Really bad monks like to karma before they die. Really good monks like to karma either during their burst or, usually during the opponent's burst, to reflect the max amount of damage into them as fast as possible. It just makes perfect sense to do it that way. And when you combo that with Touch of Death and, of course, Fists of Fury, it creates nearly a really powerful one-shot if you connect the full CC within that combo and all the abilities, and of course with all the stacks. So allowing them to reach that point is terrifying. Now, believe it or not, Frost DKs actually have a lot more damage than monks. So when it comes down to, let's say you counter this properly, I haven't showed you guys how to do that yet. Let's say you actually counter that properly, and the monk has to resort to using his CCs and, of course, his crazy mobility to stay away from you. Now, most monks, of course, are going to resort to dropping behind a pillar. If they have healing elixirs, they'll use those, or they'll go and they'll start spamming. Where is it at? I just put it on my bars. There it is. Infuse, and they'll sit here behind the pillar as you run around over here, and as long as you're in combat, you will not be able to catch a monk. He'll run around the pillar, and anytime you think you see him, basically lag will cause you not to hit him with chains. So the server lag is actually working against you, and the bigger your server lag is, the less of chance that you, of course, are going to catch this monk running around the pillar full healing. Now, the worst thing you can do is chase this monk around in close quarters, where he could, of course, hit you with his paralysis, hit you with any stuns or CCs that he has, and, of course, hit you with Fists of Fury, and he kites back, and he keeps you in combat. This way he can control you and full heal and reset the fight every single time. Your job as a Frost DK is going to be to not let this happen. Now, you're probably thinking, that's a lot harder said than done. Yes, it is, but I do have a few tricks for you guys, of course, in line to show you how to do that. Now, that's really what it's going to come down to in that last 20% I was talking about, is them, of course, jumping to different pillars and LOSing and healing and really trying to reset the fight using max mobility. And what they are really trying to do is reach about 1.5 minute mark to 2 minute mark to get Touch of Death and Touch of Karma back to go ahead and try and reburst on you as a Frost DK. And if you don't have AMS or any healing, IBF is 3 minutes, so you don't have the survivability to live through that next one. So you do have to finish it before that, or you are in a lot of trouble. So let's go ahead and jump back over to the Frost DK, and I'll go ahead and show you guys how to counter some of that. So in a monk's mind, what he wants to do, of course, as we said, is catch you in that paralysis, and he wants you to trinket. And of course, that'll give him enough time to close the gap on you, hopefully catching you without runic power. Now, how do we stop that from happening, guys? What we're going to use, of course, is pillars to our advantage, and basically spam him with icy chains to begin with. Just smack him with icy chains and generate up runic power. Even hit him with a howling blast if you can, but generally just try to peek out just enough to hit them chains and get back. Hit chains and get back. Hit chains and get back. If there isn't any LOS, just kind of do it in the open and stay at max range as far as you can away, just stacking it up as much as possible and rooting him, and trying to get as much runic power as possible. Once you've got max runic power, or close to max runic power, you basically have the ability to, even if he's becoming as the aggressor, you have the ability to pump out more damage than him, because as we know, once you're able to get full runic power, you can burst on a target. So you're basically able to burst as soon as he comes in on you. So the monk comes in on you, he closes the gap, you've got full runic power, and the first thing you do, burst Remorseless Winter to get off the stun, and you start wailing on him. You just start knocking on him. The first thing that this monk is going to do is hit you with Touch of Death, and probably hit you with Karma. And what you're going to do at that point is AMS. Now, AMS with, of course, the artifact talent here is going to be Mirror Ball, which removes all harmful magic effects. You'll wait till, of course, Karma hits you. You will pump as much damage, probably runic dump into him as hard as you can, and generate a big dot on yourself. At that point in time, you're going to hit Anti-Magic Shell, which is going to dispel that dot. Now, you're still going to have Karma on you, but you are going to continue pumping as much damage into that Karma as you can. Of course, you're going to have Touch of Death on you, and some point around that time is when he's going to use Fists of Fury, usually when Touch of Death is usually capping. So once Touch of Death kind of goes off, you got stunned a little bit, you are going to use your Icebound Fortitude heal macro on the target. Now, you've kind of done a ton of damage straight through his Karma. You've actually pushed through his Karma, made it come off. You've used the magic damage that he's dealing with you on your anti-magic shell to generate more runic power, to put more burst through him, basically getting rid of his whole counter, reflecting it back at him, and causing him to make you deal more damage. And that's kind of how you counter that crazy monk burst. And of course, they hit you with that Fist of Fury, as I was saying before, trying to create that one shot, and of course, Touch of Death, proccing all at the same time. Now, of course, once you're caught in that stun, it's a pretty annoying stun. What you're going to use then, of course, is your IBF heal. Now, I don't suggest using Actually, I do suggest using it right away. Make sure you use the macro, because what's going to happen with the monks, some smarter monks will actually, once you use the IBF and you go for the heal, they'll try to like paralyze you or something so you can't get the heal off. So if you use the macro, it'll happen simultaneously so they can't counter that. And at this point, what you have is basically a monk that's left at about, usually about 30 to 40% health. You're health capped, you don't have IBF. Generally, you still have your trinket at this point, which you're probably going to use on a leg sweep, which he's probably going to use to try and peel you. And at this point, you are the aggressor. He's going to try and run away from you and get to this pillar. Now, if he's a good monk, he's definitely going to get to the pillar. Like, there's almost no way of stopping him. You're going to spam chains at him. You're going to do everything you can, and chances are he's going to get to this pillar. Now, if you're using the consistency spec, of course, we're going to have 40-second cooldowns. Of course, his marker, he wants to hit that 1.5 mark. Our, of course, small cooldowns are going to be, our kill is like the 40-second range after our first burst. That's when we're ready to, of course, kill a monk, having our second chance. But everything leading up to that also matters, because you want to keep him with lower health, and there are ways to keep a monk from healing up. Now, he's going to get a few heals here and there, but don't let him drag you into his game because of that. Let's say the monk instantly runs away or portals behind this pillar right here, uses a couple of infuses, and instead of me chasing him around this pillar so he just LOSs and heals, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step outside this building so I can't do it, is wait till he breaks combat with me so I can mount up. And I'll kind of use this to show you guys. And let's say this is a pillar right here and he's on the other side of it. And, you know, usually you just kind of chase people around the pillar. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to get you. And he LOSs, and it's extremely annoying. But once you're able to mount up, not only are you faster than him, you can actually use the server's latency lag to your advantage, making it so you can hit him with the chains of ice before he hits you with the stun or paralysis, making it so he can't move. And if you have your trinket, of course, that'll actually make you land the kill. Make sure you use it at the right time, because you don't want to mess that up. Basically, what you're going to do here, instead of, you know, following the square or the circle or whatever it is, what you're going to do is diagonally hop. Now, he's, say, on the other side of this. You're going to act like you're going to run the opposite direction, which is going to cause him to jerk to the right. Now, understand, with server lag, his movement is also slightly lagging. So he's going to jerk this way, and what you're going to do is instantly go and jump this direction, jump straight out there, which is going to cause you to kind of take the long road, which is kind of the elongated path, but you'll actually be able to see just slightly past the other corner. So even if he's just getting around that corner after you realize that he juked you, you'll have just enough time to hit him with the chains or a grip or something to actually get that consistency on a target. And learning this actually becomes key, because if you don't know how to do this, you're going to have a heck of a hard time trying to catch that monk. Now, you cannot let off the pressure. You need to stay on that monk as much as possible. Now, let's say he's getting away from you here. He's at range. Even when he's at range, you need to be howling blasting, and when you get in any like 10 yards or something, start dropping those rains frost strikes on him. You need to keep in full pressure as long as possible all the time, and just keep hounding him. I mean, it's kind of trial and error to learn how to do this. It even took me quite a while to learn it in Legion. But after a while, it really came down to his science. I don't think I've lost to one in arena as of yet. As of duels, like world PvP duels, as I said before, it's so crazy. Like, if you get jumped by another class, or if you jump another class, generally the person that's jumping the other person in world PvP is the one that's gonna win. Unless there's like a huge gear or skill gap difference. It's kind of just crazy under that. But I believe under these, you guys will actually have a lot better off killing monks, of course. As of closing distance while they're running away from you, of course, you're going to be using Wraithwalk to get around the pillars a little faster, catch up to them, break immobilizations. That'll be kind of fun. But the main thing is you really have to slow them with Chains of Ice, stay on them, and of course, like I said, don't play the pillar game with them. Kind of stay out a little bit, wait for you to be able to mount up, get on your mount, and then go after them. Don't play the pillar hump game with them, because you'll lose the pillar hump game with them all the time. The only time you want a pillar hump is in the beginning, when he's coming for you in that 1v1 situation, and you can actually get a little LOS on him, you can get a little diss on him, and you can generate a lot of that runic power. Do so. Now, here's the thing, guys. Here is the biggest mistake I see that Frost DKs make when they're fighting a Windwalker monk is they go into the fight, they're getting on this Windwalker, and the Windwalker starts putting a little damage on him, and the Frost DK figures he's putting in a lot of damage, and then he hits me with Karma, and the DK figures I'm gonna kite it or something. Worst mistake you could ever make. If you try to kite that monk, the first thing he's going to do is immobilize you. He's going to put in more DPS, and his DPS is going to peak because he no longer has to focus on any kind of self-survivability and or healing, and you're not bursting on the target. He's basically having a heyday with your backside. And you're not even forcing karma or anything. Like, it is the worst thing for you to do is try and let off pressure and kite out that monk when he starts throwing karma on you. Now, let's say you're in a threes match with a healer or something, that's a bit different. But in a 1v1 situation, when he throws karma on you, this is time for action. This is actually your opportunity to flip the match once he starts putting that pressure in on you. Yeah, probably the worst mistake I see people make with monks, or at least in a 1v1 situation on Frost DK, is definitely trying to run away from a monk. Never try to do that. You have the stronger damage in that 1v1 situation. Outside of burst, you can cause more pressure, you can hold him still longer, and you may not have as much healing as them, but you can definitely, after that little fight, after I just explained, once you have that down, you'll definitely be able to keep up enough consistency to, you know, become the aggressor in that situation, guys. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if this helped you out at all. I was kind of trying to think of a way to make these and have a better explanation. I think kind of having the classes on there and being able to show you guys the abilities and what exactly they got going on may help a little bit more. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Leave a like on it. Comment on the next class you want me to do one on. Let me know if you enjoyed this. And until next time, this was your boy Hazzed.
At the edge of the hellfire, it's the